So this was originally done, I think it was the end of 2020 or beginning of 2021 when I presented this. And Solon from the local group I'm in, North Carolina Interest Group, the Carolinas, South and North, and the surrounding area, with some of the photos mainly and some stuff. So, all right. So positive thinking. I'm using some information about feelings and emotions from Christian Frenner's YouTube video and some from the Might of Thoughts and the Psyche. 4 factors for the Might of Thoughts, the 3 golden rules from the Psyche. All right. So I want to go over the difference between feelings and emotions. So in Billy's work, they have quite a different feeling. I mean, a meaning than what's normally understood in our society. So feelings can be changed by your conscious thoughts. So if you are feeling sad and you think of a time when you were super happy and like at the beach or something, and then you would stop feeling sad instantly, right? They can, of course, be beneficial or harmful. Emotions are always uncontrolled responses in Billy's definition. And they are coming from past or external sources. For instance, a buildup of negative thoughts creates negative feelings, and those get stored inside of us, and then they come out when we get triggered with like an uncontrollable crying or anger or like anxiety shaking our bodies, things like that. Uh, so that means that they're pretty harmful emotions, because that's not the goal, to suppress our feelings, right? So emotions are always bad for us because self-control is a part of self-development. So that's what I meant by feelings can be good or bad in our growth, and emotions pretty much are harmful, right? So that covers that part. And we can do, talk question answers after, I guess, or after the meeting or something like that. I can stay on. So 4 factors of psychotherapeutic analysis. This includes the tracking down of distortions of reality as the first step. Now, this is very similar to cognitive therapy, which I've learned in my social work master's degree career, all that. So the first step is to uncover the problem causing unconscious or conscious thoughts and feelings. He also calls them distortions of reality, just like in psychology. For this, a self-motivation and interaction with therapist are needed, one or the other, pretty much. I mean, sorry, the self-motivation is definitely needed, but the interaction with therapists, it can depend on how severe it is, if you can do it on yourself. Diary of thoughts and feelings is necessary, and this is just summarizing that chapter. I highly recommend everyone to go read it. And this is just to get it all out. Whether it's you agree with it or not is like, true or not. We'll get to that. So this is a systematic self-observation, right? So instead of pointing the finger outward for our feelings and our problems, we're looking within. It's never the event, it's the thought about the event that creates our feelings, right? And behavior. The recognition of distortions of reality is the second step. So the first one, you've got all your thoughts out, and you might have used a therapist to help you get at some of them. But just writing them down daily as you're triggered with things that bother you, we have problem feelings or problem behaviors. And just write about what are the thoughts and feelings for each event that bothers you. And now we're going to see if they are correct thoughts or not. Because sometimes our feelings are correct. Like you're at the edge of a cliff, you need to feel a concern to not fall off, right? It could some fear of heights is a natural, healthy fear, right? So understanding that one's thoughts are not true or are they and a belief, or are they the truth? Causing the problems, or are automatic. Clarity of what is the source of the problem is important. Let me go back. Meaning like a little bit of understanding about your past and stuff like that. Is this drop down thing in the way? I can move it. Okay, so it's a critical examination. It's really doing the work, the inner work that many in humanity have no idea about. So, yeah. Constructing new realistic alternative thoughts and feelings is part of this step. In psychology, we call it the rational response part. And the third one is really heavily working on that creation of a new attitude, conviction, and the experience of it and living of it. So this third process can take months or years, depending on the seriousness. Long and detailed conversations, Billy says, are necessary when a psychotherapy is needed. So depending on the severity, he does say that somebody will need a trained person experience. So recognizing the actual facts of the thoughts and feelings and living through them is important. But the new thoughts and feelings. So you can actually tell, like, I've had a lot of therapy myself, and I'll be like, I just don't understand, how can I shake this judgment on myself? Like, it makes sense to me that I should judge myself like this, and it's causing that vicious cycle and causes more problems from having that judgment, but I couldn't understand how to shake it. And that's where that external source helps us realize how the evidence, facts, right? And to get out of my confused belief about life and myself, right? Which develop in our childhood mainly. Billy goes into that a lot in other material, like that Happy Satisfied book as well. Conversations which contain argument and which are clarifying, empathetic, explanatory, and intelligible play a great role when using a therapist. So, argument that's healthy and not yelling in anger. You can gain a lot of conscious growth through discussions. Empathetic. He did say it's important that the person helping in these cases that require it have like a love, caring for that person. Self-therapy is very difficult because one must have the lived practical experience and knowledge. Study one's own I, your own ego, and only use self-initiative. But it can be done, especially in minor situations, and if you have that experience. Here's the symbol for neutral positive. Neutral positive equalized thoughts are needed to create feelings that balance the psyche. It's a pretty cool symbol, I thought. So there's a lot more details on what neutral positive equalized thoughts are in the psyche book, which this chapter actually says, go read the psyche for more information in the 4 factors. It does suggest that. Convictions that lead to new behaviors must be created with positive thinking and the might of thoughts. So convictions are like the new, it's instead of beliefs, it's a better way of saying like a new way of thinking that's healthy and based on reality. And of course, the might of thoughts is very, very important, right? The conscious, neutral, positive, equalized, changing, and new programming of the consciousness, thoughts, feelings, as well as the psyche and subconsciousness is the 4th factor. And there's a symbol for weighed outness. Ausgewogenheit. Pretty simple one, huh? But definitely very explanatory when looking at it. So we'll get into that. All right, so the 4th factor is all about actually testing it out in real life. facing the situations that trigger the problem reaction and practicing new thoughts and feelings. So, like if you have a phobia of insects, you can do some testing out, exposure to that. Helpful techniques: role reversal, role play, where another point of view is taken to see it in a neutral, positive, equalized way. Paradoxical intervention: exaggerate the problem so it is obvious that it is unrealistic and not true. And these are both actually in the cognitive therapy training for CBT. So I thought that was really cool that, I know he says there's some problems with psychology in this book, especially the Mind of Thoughts. But he also says sometimes you really need a therapist or someone at least trained as one. And these techniques are very helpful. And I've been learning a lot about validation also because I work with children in my work. And so it's very important to kind of like not just keep pushing someone and invalidating them and say, no, you're wrong, it's wrong. So that's kind of where this works. It's like paradoxical. Oh, okay, so let's agree with you, right? And studies show that when even political beliefs, people are more likely to use critical thinking once they feel validated first and reflect it back to them, their views. So great technique, validation in daily life with friends and family. It's amazing. I think our aggressive gene issue makes it hard to not just want to push everyone to just change their minds and do the right thing, right? So it take a long time to complete these processes, but it can be noticed that gradual progress is made. So patience is a virtue, he said. All right, so the 3 golden rules to think positively from the psyche. Number 1 is a wishful dream. Not sure why the 1 is cut off on my screen, but number 2, always smile even if sad. Okay, let me wishful dream. So this is basically, if anyone hasn't read that section, I'll give the page numbers later. It's at the end of the psyche. It goes about a page or two of all about what the wishful dream is. And, it's something a lot of people have since their childhood, a fantasy, castles in the sky, he mentions, but also can be something that you want to manifest in your life, like to create. That could be helpful when it is something like that. But it's neutral. It's that whole neutral positive thing. It's right after he explains what neutral positive thinking is, which is I'm getting better and better is not neutral. If you're sick, then that's actually the opposite. So it's directly conflicting and your subconscious fights back and creates the more worse thought of I'm sick. So a wishful dream should be neutral, where it's like nature, I'm loving the flower, it's so beautiful, the sun, or seeing yourself feeling happy, seeing yourself doing something and feeling good about it actually creates more motivation in yourself than just saying, I'm going to do this in your head, because the words fight the subconscious worse than images and thoughts create the feeling. So I've been working with that more personally recently. Someone in FIGU helped me understand that better, actually. And I was like, wow, that is a game changer. So images instead of words are the best kind of positive thinking for healing and growth and all that. Always smile even if sad is the second rule of the 3 golden rules. And he even mentions how the Chinese have adopted that in their culture. And studies show in science on our planet that smiling does make your brain feel happier. So very cool. And number 3, head upright, eye contact, notice surrounding details. So that just a quick summary of that paragraph. He explains number 2 and 3 are pretty short in the book, but yeah, remember recently in the contact report, he's talking about sociopathy, like having your head upright helps those type of people when you're around them. Sociopaths, right? And eye contact always is great for communication. You feel heard when someone looks at you when you're talking to them too. And notice surroundings, details. And he does mention that can be very helpful when you're out in nature, and you can use those little memories as part of your wish dreams to help with the whole positive thinking to get rid of negative thoughts. The psyche talks about how you can just bring in a neutral nature image in your mind anytime you're feeling emotions and feelings that are hard to deal with. You try to push, or the negative thoughts, you push them away with these neutral images. We can practice that today. Everybody can, and So, conclusion, this is part one. I think I have time for part two because it's got 15 more minutes. So, we must make effort. There's much more to learn. Future reading. 10 recommendations are right after the three golden rules in the psyche, which I'm about to get into in part two. If the human being wants to become happy and satisfied, this is the book that's been translated in process from creationaltruth.org, and the passive members have access to that, I believe, only right now. Thanks to Patrick McKnight's hard work on that. All right. So, oh, and I did mark some page numbers from that book, The Happy and Satisfied, because it was talking about like the childhood and stuff and developing the harmful thoughts. So here's the video. I will grab that link for the chat because that's Christian Frenner talking about the difference in emotions and feelings and peace and stuff and harmony. So, and then chapter 4, there's different page numbers of that book, so I just put the chapter. There's different versions of this book. All right, the Psyche Three Golden Rules, page 170. I'm not sure if there's different versions, but there's the symbol for that. Okay, perfect. We are done with that. I think we have time now. And let me put this in the chat. Can I get to the chat when presenting? Yeah, that video. There you go. Okay, and now part two. All right, see the date there, 2/27/21. Wow, time flies. Okay, so introduction, the 10 recommendations from the Psyche, page 178. There's a serenity symbol, which you can also get on clothing and items on the Zazzle site that Michael Horn and Andrea created. The knowledge symbol, awesome. It's like an A right there. So, of course, peace. And I have a shirt on. I don't know if you all saw it. Was the piece, the happiness symbol. I love it. So, number one, in addition to 3 golden rules, the 10 recommendations, it's spend time outdoors, outside of 4 walls, specifically, he says. And that's a big popular thing now, nature therapy, especially in cities and stuff. Shout out loud during these walks. He actually says you can shout a name of significance to you, and just helps loosen things up in your psyche, gets things off your chest. So might be kind of hard to do in crowded neighborhoods and stuff, but nature and being away for people is important, right? Sing loudly while walking, and it doesn't matter how bad your singing is, just as loud as possible. Really good for the psyche. And happy songs, he gives some recommendations in the psyche of happy type German songs. So walk barefoot, different speeds. And I'm actually standing on a foot reflexology mat with tons of little plastic stones that feels amazing. I use it for stand-up desk at work, and yeah, that's part of the reason is for the massaging of all your organs are being connected into your feet, you know? Foot reflexology, the meridian system dates back to Dokadamian and all that, source to him. And there is talk about earthing and energies, which he doesn't mention the earth's energy as being a reason for this, but he just says it's good for the psyche. So I assume that's part of the reason. Earthing's pretty popular these days. Short rest with daydreams on these long walks. Just take a little break and use your wishful dreams. Pay attention to your thoughts, a little meditation. Number 6, rest and focus on surroundings. So that's kind of like that third golden rule where you're taking in the details, focusing on the surroundings, helping the wishful dreams, and very relaxing, especially on those walks. Reflect on your own thoughts and errors. This is also part of the long walks, I think. Yeah, it's that going within, right? And we've got problems to solve. Let's go within. Let's not veg out and watch movies. And oh, someone said Enoch. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So yeah, reflect on your own thoughts and errors. That's self-reflection, part of the 4 factors, right? Keep secrets except in certain instances, which are basically harm to self and others, life-threatening, things like that. Speak slowly, deliberately, number 9, in a controlled and friendly way. You can tell the difference. You talk to people who are, or have you ever been like that, where you're just go, 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 and it's just, yeah. This what you say is not as good when you're in adrenaline and you're not slow and relaxed. Um, it's actually one of the 77 meditative statements is to be relaxed and calm to overcome problems, right? So number 10, honesty and freedom of opinion to self and others. There's the good old truth symbol. Kind of looks like that AI eyeball robot from 2001 Space Odyssey, right? Um, and kind of similar to the honesty symbol right in the middle there. You got a little eye thing. Two more. Ehrlichkeit, honesty, page 82 in the symbols book. All right. So, in conclusion, read the book section for more details from the psyche, that whole section around positive thinking. The 3 golden rules starts at page 170, but before that, there's a lot of good stuff about this. The neutral thinking, just like right before that part. And of course, the meditation book had just come out when first presented this, and I got excited about all these new important factors for meditation. Mental obstacles, page 114. How to use incense for meditation, 116, which also I've clarified that you can use essential oils if the smoke bothers you, but that's important. 10 minutes before the meditation, it says fill the room with smoke. So nutrition, don't eat too heavy 2 hours before meditating. Sitting posture, if you're going to sit instead of lay down, keep your back straight. There's different other ways to sit. Definitely look all these up, of course. Suggested meditation, so that's basically avoiding guided meditations. They're not that great usually. Got to be careful with those. There's tons of them on YouTube, right? Page 126, euphoria meditation. Page 126 is also a dangerous type where you're just trying to focus on too much positivity, can cause delusion. The coup method, that's basically that whole affirmation thing. I'm getting better, I'm getting better, I'm getting better. All that stuff. The subconscious resists and makes you worse. NLP, there were some concerns with that to explore there in 130, neuro-linguistic programming. So there you go. The Psyche book by Billy Mark, Intro to Meditation, The Symbols of Spiritual Teaching, and you get them at the theyfly.com shop. And you can get these cool stickers at the creationaltruth.org library stickers here. They have different sayings on them. Live and help to live, that is the need of the hour. So hopefully I'm helping some people to live a little bit here with this presentation. And